In mathematics, the Fibonacci numbers or Fibonacci series or Fibonacci sequence are the numbers of the following integer sequence. Sequence A000045 in OEIS. By definition, the first two numbers of the Fibonacci sequence are 0 and 1, and each subsequent number is the sum of the previous two. In mathematical terms, the sequence Fn of Fibonacci number is defined by the recurrence relation with seed values. The Fibonacci sequence is named after Leonardo Fibonacci. His 1202 book, Liber Abaci, introduced the sequence to Western European mathematics, although the sequence has been described earlier in Indian mathematics. By modern convention, the sequence begins either with F0 equals 0 or with F1 equals 1. The Liber Abaci began the sequence with F1 equals 1 without an initial 0. Fibonacci numbers are closely related to Lucas numbers in that they are a complementary pair of Lucas sequences. They are intimately connected with the golden ratio. For example, the closest relation approximations of the ratio are 2/1, 3/2, 5/3, 8/5. Applications include computer algorithms such as the Fibonacci search technique and the Fibonacci heap data structure, and graphs called Fibonacci cubes, used for interconnecting parallel and distributed systems. They also appear in biological settings such as branching in trees, phyllotaxis, the arrangements of leaves on a stem, the fruit sprouts of a pineapple. That was weird. Okay, let me find my place. The phyllotaxis, the arrangements of leaves on a stem, the fruit sprouts of a pineapple, the flowering of artichoke, and uncurling fern, and the arrangement of a pine cone. The Fibonacci sequence appears in Indian mathematics in connection with Sanskrit prosody. In the Sanskrit oral tradition, there was much emphasis on how long L syllables mix with the short S, and counting the different patterns of L and S within a given fixed length results in the Fibonacci numbers. The number of patterns that are M short syllables long is the Fibonacci number Fm plus 1. Susantha Gunett-Lake writes that the development of the Fibonacci sequence is attributed in part to Pingala, 200 BC, later being associated with Varahanka, c. 700 AD, Gopala, c. 1135, and Hemachandra, c. 1150. Pramanand cites Pingala's cryptic formula, Mishru Cha, the two are mixed, and cites scholars who interpret it in context as saying that the cases for M beats Fm plus 1 is obtained by adding a S to Fm cases and L to the Fm-1 cases. He dates Pangala before 450 BC. However, the clearest exposition of the series arises in the work of Virahanka circa 700 AD, whose own work is lost but is available in a quotation by Gopala circa 1135. Variations of the two earlier meters is a variation. For example, for a meter of length, 4 variations of meters of 2 and 3 being mixed, 5 happens. Works out examples 8, 13, 21. In this way, the process should be followed in all matra vratas, prosodic combinations, or prosodic combinations. The series is also discussed by Gopada before 1135 AD and by Jane Schuler Hemochandra circa 1150. In the West, the Fibonacci sequence first appears in the book Liber Abaci in 1202 by Leonardo of Pisa, known as Fibonacci. Fibonacci considers the growth of an idealized, biologically unrealistic rabbit population, assuming that a newly born pair of rabbits, one male, one female, are put in a field. Rabbits are able to mate at the age of 1 month, so that at the end of its second month a female can produce another pair of rabbits. Rabbits never die, and a mating pair always produces one new pair, one male, one female, every month from the second month on. The puzzle that Fibonacci poses was, how many pairs will there be in 1 year? At the end of the first month they mate, but there is still only one pair. At the end of the second month, the female produces a new pair, so now there are 2 pairs of rabbits in the field. At the end of the third month, the original female produces a second pair, making 3 pairs in all in the field. At the end of the 4 months, the original female has produced yet another new pair. The female born 2 months ago produces her first pair also, making 5 pairs. At the end of the 9th month, the number of pairs of rabbits is equal to the number of pairs, which is the number of pairs in month n/2, plus the number of pairs alive last month, n/1. This is the nth Fibonacci number. The name Fibonacci sequence was first used by the 19th century number theorist Edward Lucas. The Fibonacci numbers are important in the computational runtime analysis of Euclid's algorithm to determine the greatest common divisor of 2 integers. The worst case input for this algorithm is a pair of consecutive Fibonacci numbers. Yuri Matejasiewicz was able to show that the Fibonacci numbers can be defined by a Diophantine equation, which led his original solution of Hilbert's 10th problem. The Fibonacci numbers are also an example of a complete sequence. This means that every positive integer can be written as a sum of Fibonacci numbers, where any one number is used once at most. Specifically, every positive integer can be written in a unique way as the sum of one or more distinct Fibonacci numbers in such a way that the sum does not include any two subsecutive Fibonacci numbers. This is known as Zeckendorf's theorem, and a sum of Fibonacci numbers that satisfies these conditions is called a Zeckendorf representation. The Zeckendorf representation of a number can be used to derive its Fibonacci coding. Fibonacci numbers are used by some pseudo-random number generators. Fibonacci numbers are used in a polyphase version of the merge sort algorithm, in which an unsorted list is divided into two lists whose links correspond to subsequential Fibonacci numbers by dividing the list so that the two parts have links in the approximate proportion. A tape drive implementation of the polyphase merge sort is described in The Art of Computer Programming. Fibonacci numbers arise in the analysis of the Fibonacci heap data structure. The Fibonacci cube is an undirected graph with a Fibonacci number of nodes that has been proposed as a network typology for parallel computing. A one-dimensional optimization method called the Fibonacci search technique uses Fibonacci numbers. The Fibonacci number series is used for optional lossy compression in the IFS 8S VX audio file format used on Amiga computers. The number series compans the original audio wave similar to logarithmic methods such as U-law. Since the conversion factor 1.609344 for miles to kilometers is close to the golden ratio denoted, the decomposition of distance in miles into a sum of Fibonacci numbers becomes nearly the kilometer sum when the Fibonacci numbers are replaced by their successors. This method amounts to a radix 2-number register in golden ratio base being shifted. To convert from the kilometers to miles, shift the register down the Fibonacci sequence instead. Fibonacci sequences appear in biological settings in two consecutive Fibonacci numbers, such as branching in trees, arrangements of leaves on a stem, the fruitlets of a pineapple, the flowering of artichoke, an uncurling fern, and the arrangements of a pine cone. In addition, numerous poorly substantiated claims of Fibonacci numbers or golden sections in nature are found in popular sources, e.g., relating to the breeding of rabbits in Fibonacci's own unrealistic example, the seeds of a sunflower, the spirals on shells, and the curve of waves. The Fibonacci numbers are also found in the family tree of honeybees.